So there you are, trying to fit in with others, but people don't seem to listen to you. You try to make people like you, but some people just don't like to be around you. You keep hanging with the same group of friends. You try to blend in with other people, but it just couldn't work. Then you try to flirt, but these girls give you the weird-looking face. You never approach another girl since. Sounds familiar? This is because you are lacking the charm in you. You actually have it, but you don't know how to realize it. Don't worry, it's quite common than you think. But today, we are going to change that about you. We will go through everything that you have to change about yourself. It will require some time and effort, but it will be very worth it. In fact, it is one of the most worthwhile efforts you can make. This video will be divided into 4 parts. Don't skip any of the parts, as they are all important, especially the first 2 parts, as they are the fundamentals on making you much more charismatic. The other 2 parts are less important, like the way you present yourself and the way you talk. Although every part is important, but if you don't apply the first 2 parts, then this video won't be much good for you. This video also comes with a goal checklist in the description below to guide you through your goals as mentioned in this video. Part 1. Non-neediness. Neediness, as Mark Manson quoted, it is the root of all unattractiveness. Therefore, it doesn't matter how good looking or expensive your clothes are, if you are needy, you will still appear like a creep to most people. Have you seen or experienced a person who seeks validations from others when they say something? Or always needs assurance if what they say is correct, or always afraid that he will hurt someone when he says something offensive. These are all symptoms of neediness. And realize it or not, most of us are needy without even realizing it. And to really break free from being needy is to be less invested on what others perceive you or what others think of you. Neediness occurs when you place a higher priority on what others think of you than what you think of yourself. Of course, it's impossible to be 100% carefree of what others think of you, and we'll still have a little bit of neediness in ourselves. But we can reduce our neediness, and the less needy you are, the more charismatic you will be. So how can you be less invested on what others perceive you? Intention. You see, needy people, their main motivation is for people to like them, so they will act and say according to what the society wants them to say. They will make jokes so that people will think they are funny. They pretend to be badass so that people think they are cool. These people hide their thoughts, feelings, and motivations for someone else. A non-needy person doesn't pretend to be anything. He is just who he is, perfect with imperfections. He won't sacrifice his thoughts, feelings, and motivations for someone else. He will still make jokes, but for the sake of having fun with his friends, not trying to appear funny or cool. If you think someone is wrong, say it. Don't sugarcoat. If you don't like something, say it. Don't sugarcoat. If you feel the need to say no, say it. Don't sugarcoat. If you don't express what you really feel and sugarcoat everything that you feel uncomfortable to say, then people can sense your neediness. They will sense your hungry feeling of validation, and it will turn people away for your dishonesty. Live your life to the most honest way you can. It's important to note also that non-neediness doesn't mean you should care only about yourself. This is narcissism, and we will uncover this in the next part. But let's go deeper on how your actions and behavior are displaying your neediness. Let's say you're a guy, and you happen to meet this girl you really like. And during your meet, you want to attract her. You drop off hints about how much money you make and tell stories about the hottest person you ever dated just to impress her. I hope you can see how this behavior is needy. A non-needy guy, on the other hand, genuinely just tries to get to know the other person to find out if they're compatible with one another. Let's look at the other scenarios. Don't skip this, it's very important. Are you afraid to dress yourself very well because you're scared that people think you are overdressing? Are you afraid to smile at strangers because it will appear creepy and show yourself as low value or needy? Have you been so afraid to stand out a lot? Have you ever not asked a person out because you're scared of the idea of getting rejected? This shows you lack vulnerability. Another aspect of non-neediness is to be vulnerable. Some people mistake being vulnerable as being weak and needy, but it actually shows that you are strong, independent, and not invested about what others think of you. Being vulnerable boils down to how expressive you are with your feelings, your emotions, and thoughts. The more you express, the more you are being vulnerable. And if done correctly, people will be able to connect with you more deeply and relate much more. Most of us are not taught to express our emotions, basically because the society wants us to not appear weird, but this weird is actually a good thing. Let's take an example of a student who is vulnerable. During a class, he genuinely does not understand about the concept of period. So he raises his hand and asks. By doing this, he is displaying high vulnerability as he is at risk of getting laughed and ridiculed about how weird is he to ask such a weird and stupid question. Let's be honest, during our school times, we are immature and we would think badly of this guy. But as we grow more, we realize that this is a very bold move and should be respected. A person who is truly vulnerable and secure would say, "This is who I am, faults and all. You don't have to like me for me to be okay with that." But what if people don't like you for who you are? Guess what? Fuck them. Shove a middle finger up their asses. Being non-needy is not an overnight process, as the behaviors and actions are rooted deep in your consciousness, and it requires a paradigm shift and a long time to change from neediness to non-neediness. But it will be one of the best things to change about yourself. Part 2. Non-narcissism. When thinking about how to be charismatic, we often think how to be the hottest guy in the room, that everyone would listen, and that people will always follow what you say. This is actually not charismatic. It's downright narcissist. Narcissists only care about themselves. They are not needy, but they eliminate almost entirely others' needs to fulfill only his needs. Much of the advice out there on being charismatic involves to be selfish, to be alpha, to be dominant, and all these bullshits. You see, even if you should put yourself and your needs first, that doesn't mean you should entirely dump other people's opinions and needs. The difference we can see so far is that needy men only know how to care about what others want, even if it harms themselves. Non-needy men look for that intersection where they can get both their own needs and others' needs met. Narcissistic men overcompensate and decide to only pursue getting their own needs met. Have you ever had an experience in a social situation where you feel awkward, standing there all alone? Then there's this someone came up to you, you don't even know him, but he comes to talk to you and introduce you to others in that social event. Now you feel more confident to talk to others thanks to that selfless person who doesn't think of himself as alpha or dominant bullshit. You see, a huge part of being charming is to make others feel they got it. You have to give the charm to get the charm. Then only people respect you. So next time you see someone who is left out from the group, don't only steal the spotlight to yourself. Invite the other person to engage with the group too. Narcissists are the person who will always be wanting to steal the spotlight from others. And at some point they can, but they lose respect from people. You can see how this narcissistic behavior in the end is actually needy and insecure too. They think they cannot be great if they are not getting what they want. Being non-needy means you're okay with who you are. You don't need attention and publicity because you know you are already awesome. Some people like it, some people don't. It's normal. Part 3. Lifestyle. From this point on, this video won't be much of a good watch, but it will still give you lots of insights on your external self. Part 3 is about lifestyle, and the most appealing to our lifestyle is our fashion. I don't have to teach you this, but because there are still some dudes wearing like McDonald's workers, I have to address this. Don't wear like a hobo. Don't wear trashy stuff. Don't wear baggy clothes. Don't wear clothes too small. Goddamn, please wear something that fits you greatly. It doesn't matter how expensive your clothing are or how good they are. If they don't fit well, they suck. Period. Look at these two pictures. Which one looks better? Of course it's this one. Any guy with a brain cell can tell. How about this? And this? And this? See? By just wearing the clothes that fits, it's doing 90% of the job done. Also, groom properly. You don't want to look like a loser who gets addicted to watching SpongeBob all day long. Fitness. As obvious as it sounds, get in shape. If you want to command respect, the simplest thing to do is to get in shape. I don't care what people say, no one likes a person who looks like a fat dad. Get a gym membership and work your ass out. Clean up your diet. And this is a starting point that will give you 80% of the results for 20% of the effort. You're simply cutting out the following things: sodas, fast food, desserts, and candy. If you just cut those things out of your diet, you'll see a drastic improvement. Body language and posture. Watch this. Imitate this 100%. Shoulders back, chest up, walk straight. Swing your arms lightly, not too much, just do it naturally. Now let's see how this guy talks.
With body language, our gestures, and our stance. Today, we want to talk to you about this latter point. How do we use our body effectively to communicate our message? Because we have so many great ideas here, but if they remain in our head...
He has an open body language. He does not close his legs and limbs like a nerd. He uses his hand gestures as he speaks. When you talk like this, people will see like you won the best student award or something. No cap. Practice a lot and always keep in mind of your body language and posture. They are one of the things you can start implementing almost immediately and have great results. Part 4. Talking. The way you talk shows so much about yourself. People can sense if you are needy when you talk. That's why it's first important to fix your neediness first. Along then, you can implement having a good vocal tonality. So not just having a sexy voice that's important, it's having an expressive and loud voice. We actually have two voices, a head voice and a chest voice. Basically, when you sing, your head voice does the high notes and the chest voice does the low ones. Your head voice breathes out largely through your nose, while your chest voice through your mouth. The head voice comes from the throat and the chest voice comes from the diaphragm. What you want to do is always be aware when you speak. Speak through your diaphragm, not your throat. Another problem men have is they often talk too quickly. This comes from a subconscious belief that if they don't get everything out quickly, people won't listen to everything we have to say. This is a needy behavior, so calm the fuck down and talk like Clooney.
The movie, and then you freeze frame with them getting shot, and they're like, no, no, no.
Next is confidence. If you are not needy, chances are you already sound confident. But what can you improve is to talk confidently even at times you don't know you are right or wrong. This is the true meaning as being vulnerable as we talked earlier. Say something you really mean and say it confidently. I made a separate video on how to instantly activate your confidence. Go down the description later to check it out. You know what's so not sexy that almost everyone does? You know that word called, it's fillers. Fillers. Words like, removing all fillers 100% of the time is often impossible. I still drop an or, occasionally. But the more of these you remove, the more clear and coherent your speaking will be. Humor. Humor is what makes people want to be with others. You got to practice this skill and just blurt out your dad jokes, even if your friends don't laugh. Who cares? You know it's funny, so share the joke. Listen, you don't make jokes to make others laugh and think that you're cool. You make jokes cause it's fun and entertaining. Keep that in mind. And seriously, just laugh at your own jokes if no one does, cause laughter is damn hell contagious, spreads faster than COVID on steroids. Finally on the list we have storytelling. And I got to tell you that this is one of the most underrated skills you could ever have in life. If you can hook people to listen to your story, you can change the world. This is what Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, and other successful people used to become so successful. People buy into their stories because it's damn good. And they bought Apple because they believe Steve Jobs' story about he wanted to bring the best user experience to its customers through innovative hardware, software, and services. Obviously and unfortunately, me myself is still trying to practice storytelling, so I can't say much about storytelling, but I highly encourage you to dedicate yourself to learn storytelling. That's it, the ultimate list to your ultimate charisma potential. Feel free to download the list from the description below and hit the subscribe button because I am Young Rock, the most charming guy on the face of the planet. Wahaha! And until then, take care and be a fucking rock.